The rain hammered against the diner window as Marcus Reed stared at his daughter's untouched pancakes. 7 years old, and Lily still ordered the same thing every Sunday morning, blueberry pancakes with whipped cream, then picked at them like a bird. Her dark curls fell across her face as she traced patterns in the syrup with her fork. "Not hungry, kiddo?" Marcus asked, keeping his voice light. Lily shrugged, her small shoulders rising and falling. "They taste different." They always tasted different. Everything tasted different to her now, 3 years after the accident that took her mother. Marcus had learned not to push. Some battles weren't worth fighting. The woman at the next booth glanced over, her eyes soft with something Marcus recognized instantly: pity. He'd seen that look 1,000 times. Single dad struggling with a grieving child. Poor thing. He turned his attention back to his coffee, wishing the Sunday morning crowd would thin out so they could leave without drawing more sympathetic stares. "Excuse me." Marcus looked up. The woman had moved closer, standing beside their table with a tentative smile. Mid-30s, maybe. Auburn hair pulled back in a messy bun, paint-stained jeans, a worn leather jacket. Not the typical Sunday morning diner crowd. "I don't mean to intrude," she said quickly, her eyes darting between Marcus and Lily. "But I couldn't help noticing your daughter's drawing." She pointed to the napkin where Lily had been sketching in crayon. "That's really good. The way you captured the light through the window, most kids don't think about shadows like that." Lily's head snapped up, her eyes widening slightly. It was the first spark of interest Marcus had seen from her all morning. "You draw?" Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The woman nodded. "I paint, actually. I have a studio a few blocks from here, mostly landscapes, sometimes portraits." She extended her hand to Lily. "I'm Jade Thornton." "Lily Reed." His daughter's voice grew stronger as she shook Jade's hand with surprising formality. "And this is my dad, Marcus." Marcus found himself shaking Jade's hand, feeling the calluses on her palm, the strength in her grip. "Nice to meet you." "Do you sell your paintings?" Lily asked, leaning forward now, her pancakes completely forgotten. Jade laughed, a warm sound that seemed to cut through the diner's noise. "I try. Some months are better than others. Being an artist isn't exactly the most stable career choice." "My mom was an artist," Lily blurted out, then immediately went still, as if she'd said something forbidden. The air shifted. Marcus felt his chest tighten, waiting for the inevitable awkwardness, the stammered apologies, the retreat. But Jade didn't flinch. She didn't offer condolences or change the subject. Instead, she pulled out the chair across from Lily and sat down, her movements unhurried. "What kind of art did she make?" Jade asked, her tone curious but not probing. Lily's eyes flickered to Marcus, seeking permission. He nodded slightly, his throat too tight to speak. "Pottery," Lily said softly. "Bowls and vases and mugs. She had a kiln in our garage. Sometimes she'd let me help glaze them." Her fingers traced the edge of her plate. "We still have some. Dad uses her coffee mug every morning." Marcus swallowed hard. He did use Sarah's mug every morning, a deep blue piece with tiny white stars she'd made the year Lily was born. He'd never told Lily he noticed her watching him drink from it, that silent connection to the mother she barely remembered anymore. "That's beautiful," Jade said. "Art that gets used, that becomes part of someone's daily life, that's the best kind. It means she's still with you every day." Lily nodded, something loosening in her small frame. "Do you think I could be an artist like her, like both of you?" "I think you already are," Jade replied. She gestured to the napkin drawing. "Artists see the world differently. We notice things other people miss. You've got that gift." For the next 20 minutes, Marcus watched his daughter come alive in a way he hadn't seen in months. Jade talked to Lily about art techniques, about how to capture movement in still images, about the importance of practice and patience. She pulled a small sketchbook from her bag, and showed Lily some of her preliminary drawings, explaining her process. Marcus should have felt grateful. Instead, he felt something close to resentment building in his chest. This stranger had managed to reach Lily in minutes when he'd been trying for years. Every carefully planned art class, every museum trip, every new set of colored pencils, none of it had sparked this kind of enthusiasm. "We should probably get going," Marcus said finally, his voice coming out sharper than he'd intended. "It's getting late." Lily's face fell. Jade glanced at him, and Marcus saw understanding flicker in her eyes. She wasn't offended. She got it. "Of course," Jade said smoothly, standing. She pulled a business card from her pocket and handed it to Lily. "My studio offers kids' classes on Saturday mornings, if you're interested. No pressure." Lily clutched the card like it was made of gold. "Can I, Dad? Please." Marcus took the card from his daughter, studying it. Thornton Studios, a North Denver address. Phone number and email in simple black font. Nothing fancy, nothing suspicious. Just an artist offering a class. "We'll think about it," he said, which was his standard response to anything that required commitment. As they left the diner, Lily chattered about art supplies she needed, techniques she wanted to try, questions she wished she'd asked Jade. Marcus listened with half his attention, the other half caught on something Jade had said. "Art that becomes part of someone's daily life, that's the best kind." Sarah had believed that. She'd refused to make pieces for galleries, preferring to create functional art that people would touch and use every day. "What's the point of beauty if it's locked behind glass?" she'd always said. That night, after Lily had finally fallen asleep, Marcus found himself standing in the garage. He hadn't been out here in months. Sarah's wheel sat in the corner, covered with a dusty tarp. Shelves lined the walls, still holding her tools, her glazes, her half-finished projects. He pulled the tarp off the wheel, coughing as dust filled the air. The wheel was an old Brent, heavy and solid. Sarah had bought it used when they'd first moved to Denver, before Lily was born, back when they'd had more dreams than money. Marcus's phone buzzed. A text from his brother, Jake. "Still on for Tuesday, Lily's birthday shopping." Right, Lily's 8th birthday was in 2 weeks. Another milestone Sarah would miss. Marcus typed back a quick confirmation, then stared at the phone for a long moment before opening his browser. He found Thornton Studios' website easily. The gallery page showed Jade's work, sweeping Colorado landscapes, intimate portraits, abstract pieces that somehow captured emotion in color and texture. Her artist's statement was brief. "I paint what I see, what I feel, what I hope. Art is conversation without words." There was a tab for classes. Kids' art exploration, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. to noon. 8-week sessions. The next one started in 3 weeks. Marcus closed the browser without signing up. Monday morning brought the usual chaos. Getting Lily ready for school, packing her lunch, finding her missing shoe, the rushed drive through Denver traffic to drop her off before his shift at the fire station. Marcus was a firefighter, had been for 12 years. It was steady work, good benefits, a schedule that allowed him to be home for Lily most evenings. "Dad," Lily asked as they pulled up to her school, "can we go back to that diner on Sunday? Maybe Jade will be there again." Marcus's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "That's not how it works, sweetheart. She was probably just passing through." "But she gave me her card. That means she wants to see me again, right?" The hope in his daughter's voice cut through him. "It means she wants you to take her class. That's her job, Lily, teaching kids to paint." "Oh," Lily's voice went small. She unbuckled her seatbelt and grabbed her backpack. "Bye, Dad." Marcus watched her walk toward the school building, her shoulders slumped, and hated himself a little. He was protecting her, he told himself. Better to manage expectations now than deal with disappointment later. But as he drove to the station, Marcus couldn't shake the image of Lily's face in that diner. lit up with genuine interest for the first time in months. His shift was brutal: 2 structure fires, 1 car accident, endless paperwork. By the time Marcus got home, he was exhausted and covered in soot. Lily was at his mother's house, would stay there until he picked her up after dinner. The house felt too quiet. Marcus showered, changed, made himself eat something that came from a microwave. Then, without really deciding to do it, he found himself in the garage again. Sarah's pottery wheel waited in the darkness. Marcus flipped on the light and sat down on the stool, running his hands over the wheel's smooth surface. She'd spent hours out here, shaping clay with patient hands, creating beauty from nothing. "I don't know what I'm doing," Marcus said aloud to the empty garage, to Sarah's ghost, to himself. "She's slipping away from me. Every day I see less of you in her, and I don't know how to keep you alive for her." The wheel, of course, didn't answer. Tuesday afternoon, Marcus and Jake met at the mall for birthday shopping. Jake was 2 years younger, never married, no kids. He couldn't fully understand what Marcus was going through, but he tried. "What does Lily want?" Jake asked as they wandered through the toy store. "I don't know anymore," Marcus admitted. "She used to want dolls, games, normal kid stuff. Now she just draws, all day, every day. Her teachers say she's good, but she won't participate in anything else." Maybe that's okay. Maybe art is how she's processing everything. Marcus knew his brother was right. He'd read enough grief counseling materials to understand that children expressed trauma differently than adults. But accepting it and knowing how to support it were 2 different things. They ended up buying art supplies, professional-grade colored pencils, a real sketchbook with thick paper, a set of watercolors. Safe choices, expected choices. As they walked back to the parking lot, Jake said casually, "You know, it wouldn't kill you to let her take that art class. What's the worst that could happen?" "She could get attached," Marcus shot back. "To the teacher, to the routine, to something that might not be permanent. And when it ends, I'm the one who has to pick up the pieces." Jake stopped walking. "Marcus, everything ends, that's life. You can't protect her from every possible disappointment." "I can try." "You can suffocate her," Jake corrected, his voice gentle but firm. "Sarah wouldn't want that." The words hung between them, uncomfortable and true. Sarah had been fearless about trying new things, about taking risks, about living fully. She would have signed Lily up for that class without a second thought. That night, after Lily was asleep, Marcus pulled out Jade's business card again. The paper was slightly worn now from being carried in his wallet all week. He stared at the phone number, his thumb hovering over the screen. "What are you afraid of?" Sarah's voice echoed in his memory, something she used to ask him whenever he hesitated. "Everything," Marcus answered silently. "Losing what little we have left. Watching Lily get hurt again. Failing her the way I failed you." He put the card away without calling. Saturday morning, Lily woke up early and came into Marcus's room. "Dad, can we go to the art store today?" Marcus rubbed sleep from his eyes. "We just got you new supplies for your birthday." "I know, but I want to try something different. Maybe clay, like Mom used to use." The request caught him off guard. Lily rarely mentioned Sarah's pottery. "What made you think of that?" Lily climbed onto his bed, sitting cross-legged beside him. "I had a dream about her last night. She was in the garage making a bowl and she let me help. But when I woke up, I couldn't remember her voice anymore. I tried really hard, but it's gone." Marcus pulled his daughter close, feeling her small body shake with silent tears. "It's okay, sweetheart. That happens sometimes. Memories fade, even the important ones." "But I don't want them to fade," Lily sobbed. "What if I forget everything about her?" Marcus held her tighter, wishing he had answers, wishing Sarah was here to know what to say. "We won't let that happen. We'll keep her alive in other ways. Through her art, through stories, through—" He stopped, an idea forming. through doing what she loved together. Lily pulled back to look at him. What do you mean? There's clay in the garage. Your mom's tools are still there. What if we tried to make something? I don't know how, but we could learn together. For the first time in days, Lily smiled. Really? You'd do that? I'd do anything for you, Marcus said and meant it. They spent the afternoon in the garage, covered in clay and laughter. Marcus had no idea what he was doing, and most of their attempts ended in collapsed lumps of mud. But Lily was happy, genuinely happy, and that was worth every failure. As the sun set and they cleaned up their disaster, Lily said quietly, Jade would probably know how to do this the right way. Marcus rinsed clay from his hands, considering. You're probably right. Can I take her class? Please. I promise I'll keep my grades up and do all my chores and… Yes, Marcus interrupted. You can take the class. Lily's squeal of delight echoed through the garage. She threw her arms around Marcus's waist, squeezing tight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That evening, Marcus finally called the number on Jade's card. She answered on the third ring, her voice warm and professional. Thornton Studios, this is Jade. Hi, this is Marcus Reed. We met at the diner last Sunday. My daughter, Lily. I remember, Jade said, and Marcus could hear the smile in her voice. How is she? She's good. Great, actually. She hasn't stopped talking about you all week. I was calling to see if there's still space in your Saturday class. Absolutely. The next session starts in 2 weeks. I'll email you the registration information. Great, thanks. Marcus should have hung up then, but instead he found himself asking, do you teach adults too? I mean, complete beginners. People who have never touched a paintbrush but maybe want to learn. There was a pause. I don't usually, but I could. Is this for you? Maybe. My wife was a potter. She died 3 years ago, and I want to understand what she loved about creating things, for Lily's sake. Another pause, longer this time. I could do private sessions. Thursday evenings, if that works. Just you, no pressure, we'll go at whatever pace feels right. Marcus closed his eyes, taking a leap he hadn't taken in 3 years. Okay, let's do it. One condition, Jade added, her voice turning serious. You have to be honest with me. If this is too much, if it's stirring up things you're not ready to deal with, you tell me. Deal. Deal. 2 weeks later, Lily started her Saturday morning art class. Marcus dropped her off at Thornton Studios, a converted warehouse space with high ceilings and north-facing windows that flooded the room with natural light. 8 kids sat around a large table, their faces eager and paint-splattered. Jade greeted them at the door, wearing an old denim shirt covered in dried paint. Welcome back, Lily. Ready to create something amazing. Lily nodded, suddenly shy. Marcus started to leave, but Jade caught his arm. Stay for a few minutes. Parents usually do, for the first class. So Marcus stayed, leaning against the back wall and watching as Jade introduced the session's theme, nature studies. She showed the kids how to really look at objects, to see shapes and shadows instead of just things. Her teaching style was patient but engaging, asking questions instead of giving instructions. Lily blossomed under her attention. Within minutes, she was laughing with the other kids, her pencil flying across the paper as she sketched a pinecone Jade had placed in the center of the table. Marcus felt something crack in his chest. Relief, maybe, or gratitude or fear. He wasn't sure anymore. That Thursday, Marcus showed up at Thornton Studios for his first private lesson. Jade had set up an easel near the windows, a blank canvas waiting. Ever painted before? She asked, handing him a brush. Not since elementary school, and I was terrible even then. Jade laughed. Perfect. No bad habits to unlearn. We'll start simple, just playing with color, seeing what speaks to you. For the next 2 hours, Marcus forgot about everything except the feel of the brush in his hand, The way colors blended and separated, the strange satisfaction of creating something from nothing. He was awful at it. His attempts at a landscape looked more like a car accident, but Jade never judged. "You're thinking too much," she observed as Marcus struggled with tree trunks that looked more like telephone poles. "Art isn't about perfection, it's about expression. What are you feeling right now?" "Frustrated," Marcus admitted. "Then paint frustration. What does it look like?" The question stopped him. What did frustration look like? He dipped his brush in red, then black, then dragged it across the canvas in harsh, angry strokes. It was ugly and violent and honest. "There," Jade said softly. "That's real." As they cleaned up, Jade asked carefully, "Can I ask what your wife's name was?" Sarah Mitchell-Reed." She must have been incredible to inspire this kind of devotion. Marcus set down the brush he'd been washing. "She was smart, funny, fearless. She made everything seem possible. When she got sick, I kept thinking she'd beat it through sheer force of will. But cancer doesn't care about willpower." "How long were you married?" 9 years. We met in college, got married young, probably too young. Everyone said we wouldn't make it, but we did, until we didn't." He laughed bitterly. "That sounds stupid." "It sounds honest," Jade corrected. She dried her hands on a towel, her expression thoughtful. "I lost someone too, my fiancé. Car accident 5 years ago. We were supposed to get married in the spring." Marcus looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the same shadows he carried reflected back at him. "I'm sorry." "Me too, for both of us." She leaned against the table, her arms crossed. "I started painting seriously after he died. Needed something to pour all that grief into, you know? Something that could hold it without breaking." "Did it help?" "Eventually, not at first. At first, everything I made was dark and angry and terrible. But slowly, color started creeping back in. Joy started finding its way back. It wasn't forgetting, it was just making room for both. The grief and the living." They stood in comfortable silence, two people who understood loss in ways they'd never wanted to. "Same time next week," Jade asked finally. "Yeah, same time next week." The weeks turned into months. Lily thrived in her Saturday morning class, making friends and filling the house with artwork. Marcus continued his Thursday evening sessions, slowly getting less terrible at painting. More importantly, he and Jade talked. About loss, about parenthood, about the impossible task of moving forward while carrying the past. She understood in ways nobody else did, not even Jake. There was no judgment, no pity, just recognition. One Thursday, as winter settled over Denver and the studio's heaters worked overtime, Jade asked, "Have you ever tried pottery?" Marcus looked up from the landscape he'd been working on. "No, why?" "Because I think you're avoiding it. You wanted to understand what Sarah loved about creating things, but you've never touched clay. We have a wheel here. I could show you the basics." "I don't know. It feels too close, maybe." Jade came to stand beside him, studying his painting. "Sometimes close is exactly what we need. Besides, Lily mentioned you two tried it at home. Didn't go well." Marcus laughed despite himself. "That's an understatement. We made lumps, very artistic lumps." "Then let's make slightly better lumps, together." So Marcus found himself at a pottery wheel for the first time in his life, his hands covered in cool, wet clay. Jade sat beside him, guiding his hands, showing him how to center the clay, how to apply pressure, how to coax shape from formless matter. It was harder than it looked. The clay fought him, wobbling and collapsing. But slowly, with Jade's patient instruction, something began to take form. Not a bowl exactly, more of a lopsided cup, but it was something. "Sarah would laugh if she could see this," Marcus said, staring at his creation. "Maybe," Jade agreed. "Or maybe she'd be proud that you tried." That night, Marcus brought the misshapen cup home and placed it on the kitchen counter to dry. When Lily saw it the next morning, her eyes went wide. "You made that." "With help, lots of help." Lily ran her fingers over the rough clay. "It's perfect, Dad. Can we make more, together?" "Yeah, we can make more." December arrived, bringing Lily's 8th birthday and the first real snow of the season. Marcus threw a party at their house, inviting Lily's classmates from school and her new friends from art class. Jade showed up with a carefully wrapped gift, a professional art set complete with paints, brushes, and a portable easel. But more than that, she'd made something herself. A watercolor portrait of Lily sitting in her Saturday morning class, sunlight streaming through the windows, her face concentrated and joyful. Lily burst into tears when she saw it. "It's beautiful, thank you." Marcus felt his own eyes sting as he studied the painting. This was his daughter, but also more than his daughter. This was a child who'd survived loss and was learning to create beauty despite it. After the party, after the other kids had left and Lily was organizing her gifts in her room, Jade helped Marcus clean up. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for everything. The class, the lessons, the painting, you've given her something I couldn't." Jade shook her head. "I just provided the space. You're the one who let her explore it. That took courage." It didn't feel like courage. It felt like desperation. "Sometimes they're the same thing." She set down the trash bag she'd been filling. "Marcus, can I ask you something personal?" "Sure." "Are you happy? I mean, beyond just getting through each day. Are you actually happy?" The question caught him completely off guard. "I don't know. I haven't thought about happiness in a long time. I just focus on keeping Lily okay." "And what about keeping Marcus okay?" He didn't have an answer for that. Jade stepped closer, her expression serious but kind. "You're allowed to want more than survival. You're allowed to laugh, to enjoy things, to build a life that isn't just about managing grief. Sarah would want that for you." "How do you know what Sarah would want?" "Because I know what Daniel would want for me. He'd want me to live fully, to love again if I found it, to not spend my whole life mourning what we lost. I think your wife probably wanted the same thing." Marcus felt tears building, threatening to spill over. "I don't know how. I don't know how to let go without forgetting her." "You don't let go," Jade said gently. "You make room, there's a difference." She was standing so close now that Marcus could smell her paint-stained shirt, could see the flecks of dried acrylics in her hair. Without overthinking it, he reached out and pulled her into a hug. Jade went still for a moment, then wrapped her arms around him, holding tight. They stood in his kitchen surrounded by birthday decorations and dirty dishes, two broken people finding unexpected comfort in each other. "I'm scared," Marcus whispered into her hair. "Me too," Jade whispered back, "but maybe that's okay." After that night, something shifted between them. Their relationship evolved from teacher and student, from friends bonded by loss, into something more uncertain and fragile. They didn't label it, didn't rush it. They just let it exist. Marcus invited Jade to dinner at their house. She came bearing homemade pasta and stories about her latest commission. Lily, thrilled to have her teacher in their home, showed off every piece of art she'd ever created. They visited Jade's studio on a Sunday afternoon when it was closed, and she showed them her private work, pieces she'd never displayed, paintings of Daniel, of the life they'd planned but never lived. "I don't usually show these to anyone," she admitted, "but you both understand, you've lived it." Lily studied one painting, Daniel's face rendered in blues and grays, his smile bright despite the somber colors. "You loved him a lot." "I did," Jade agreed. "I still do, that never stops." "Like how Dad still loves Mom," Lily said, not a question but a statement. Exactly like that. Marcus watched his daughter and this woman who'd become so important to them both, and felt something he hadn't felt in 3 years: possibility. Not the erasure of the past, but the chance to build a future that honored it. Winter deepened. Christmas came and went. Lily's art improved dramatically, her confidence growing with every class. Marcus continued his Thursday lessons, though they'd evolved into more talking than painting. He and Jade would work side by side, creating and conversing, building a foundation of understanding brick by careful brick. One Thursday in late January, Marcus arrived to find the studio unusually quiet. Jade sat alone at her workbench, staring at a blank canvas. "Everything okay?" he asked. She looked up and he saw tears on her cheeks. "It's Daniel's birthday. He would have been 38 today." Marcus set down his bag and went to her, pulling up a chair. "Tell me about him." So Jade did. She talked about Daniel's terrible jokes, his obsession with vintage motorcycles, the way he'd dance badly in their kitchen on Sunday mornings. She talked about the last time she saw him, how he'd kissed her goodbye before heading to work, how she'd been annoyed because he'd forgotten to take out the trash. "The last thing I said to him was nagging about trash," Jade laughed through tears. "That's what I have to carry forever." "Sarah and I fought the morning before her last surgery," Marcus shared. "About something stupid, whether Lily should go to school or stay home. I was so angry at her for being sick, for leaving us, even though I knew it wasn't her fault. I never got to apologize." They sat together in the studio's gentle light, sharing the weight of guilt and grief that all survivors carry. "Do you think they'd forgive us?" Jade asked. "For being human, for being angry, for eventually moving on." "I think they'd forgive us for anything," Marcus said. "The question is, can we forgive ourselves?" Jade leaned her head on his shoulder. "I'm trying to. Some days are easier than others." "Yeah, some days are easier than others." February brought Valentine's Day, which Marcus had ignored for 3 years straight. But Lily, emboldened by her growing confidence, had plans. "Dad, you should get Jade flowers." Marcus looked up from his coffee, still in Sarah's Blue Star mug. "What?" "For Valentine's Day, you should get her flowers, maybe roses, or those sunflowers she likes." "Lily, Jade and I are just friends." His daughter gave him a look that was far too knowing for an 8-year-old. "Dad, I see how you look at her, and how she looks at you. You like each other." Marcus opened his mouth to protest, then closed it. When had his daughter become so perceptive? "It's okay if you like her," Lily continued, climbing into the chair across from him. "I like her too. She's nice and she makes you smile more. Mom would want you to be happy." "Sweetheart, it's more complicated than that." "Why? Because Mom died." Lily's directness was startling. "Jade's fiancé died too, but she's still here, still living. We're all still living. Mom would want that for us." Out of the mouths of children, Marcus thought. When had Lily gotten so wise? That afternoon, Marcus bought flowers, sunflowers, because apparently his daughter knew Jade's preferences better than he did. He showed up at the studio unannounced, feeling like a nervous teenager. Jade answered the door with paint in her hair and surprise on her face. "Marcus, we don't have a session today." "I know, He thrust the flowers at her awkwardly. "Happy Valentine's Day, or something." Jade took the flowers, a slow smile spreading across her face. "Or something." "This is weird. I'm making this weird." "You're making this adorable." She stepped aside. "Wanna come in?" They sat in the studio as afternoon light faded into evening. Marcus told her about Lily's observation, about his daughter's unexpected wisdom. "She's right, you know," Jade said softly, "about how I look at you." Marcus's heart hammered in his chest. Yeah, I didn't expect it. After Daniel, I thought I was done with all this. Love, relationships, vulnerability. But then you walked into that diner with your daughter and your broken heart, and somehow," she shook her head, "somehow you made me want to try again." I'm terrified, Marcus admitted. Of screwing this up, of hurting Lily, of betraying Sarah's memory. I'm terrified too. But Marcus, we're not betraying anyone by choosing to live. We're not forgetting our first loves by making room for something new. We're just, she searched for words. We're just being brave enough to believe we deserve a second chance. Marcus reached for her hand, their fingers intertwining. What if we take it slow? No pressure, no expectations, just see where it goes. I'd like that, Jade said. Slow sounds perfect. Their first official date was to a botanical garden, neutral ground, where they could walk and talk without the weight of studios or memories pressing down. They held hands like teenagers, nervous and excited and cautious. Their second date included Lily, dinner and a movie, the three of them laughing together over terrible pizza and an animated film about dancing penguins. Their third date was back at Marcus's house, cooking dinner together while Lily did homework at the kitchen table. It felt domestic and comfortable and right. Spring arrived, bringing warmth and new growth. Lily finished her art class session, but immediately signed up for the next one. Marcus's Thursday lessons continued, though they'd become more about companionship than instruction. One Saturday morning, Jade invited both of them to the studio for a special project. She'd set up Sarah's old pottery wheel. Marcus had finally agreed to let her borrow it, alongside her own. I thought we could make something together, Jade explained. All three of us, a family project. Lily's eyes lit up. Really? Like what? Whatever you want. We'll figure it out as we go. They spent the morning covered in clay and laughter, creating misshapen bowls and lopsided vases. Nothing they made would win awards, but it didn't matter. What mattered was being together, creating together, building something new while honoring what came before. As Jade helped Lily shape her bowl, Marcus watched them with a fullness in his chest he'd forgotten was possible. This wasn't the life he'd planned. Sarah was supposed to be here, teaching Lily pottery herself, growing old with him. But life rarely goes according to plan. What are you thinking? Jade asked, catching his gaze. That I'm happy, Marcus said, and realized it was true. Actually, genuinely happy, for the first time in 3 years. Me too, Jade said softly. That evening, after Lily had gone to bed, Marcus and Jade sat on his back porch under a sky full of stars. The clay-covered bowls sat on the table between them, drying in the cool night air. Thank you, Marcus said. For today, for everything. Jade leaned against him. You don't have to thank me. This isn't charity, Marcus. I want to be here. Still, thank you. He paused. I think Sarah would have liked you. Yeah. Yeah, she would have appreciated your art, your kindness with Lily, your patience with my stubborn ass. He laughed quietly. She probably would have pushed us together faster. Daniel would have liked you too. He would have respected how you've handled everything, how you've put Lily first, how you've kept going even when it was hard. They sat in comfortable silence, two people who'd found unexpected love in the aftermath of loss. The bowls they'd made sat between them, imperfect, honest, real, just like them. Can I tell you something? Jade asked. I used to be angry at Daniel for dying, for leaving me alone, for all the plans we made that would never happen. I felt guilty about the anger, like I was betraying him, but I think he'd understand. I think he'd forgive me. Sarah knew she was dying long before the end, Marcus shared. The last thing she told me the night before the final surgery was don't stop living. Not take care of Lily or remember me. Just don't stop living. I didn't understand what she meant then, but I think I'm finally starting to. Jade turned to look at him, her eyes reflecting starlight. And what does living look like? This, Marcus said simply. Right here, making ugly pottery with my daughter and the woman I'm falling for. Not forgetting the past, but not being imprisoned by it either. You're falling for me. Jade's smile was radiant. Yeah, terrified about it, but yeah. She kissed him then, soft and sweet and full of promise. When they pulled apart, both were smiling. "For the record," Jade whispered, "I'm falling for you too." Inside, Lily slept peacefully, surrounded by her artwork and dreams. In the garage, Sarah's pottery wheel waited, ready for more creations. In the studio across town, Jade's paintings of Daniel would continue to honor a love that never really ended. And on the back porch, under stars that had witnessed countless endings and beginnings, two broken people discovered that healing didn't mean forgetting. It meant learning to carry loss alongside joy, grief alongside love, memory alongside possibility. The past would always be part of them, but the future, messy, uncertain, beautiful, was calling. And this time they were brave enough to answer.